So today I'm going to bring you a catch-up book haul, or the missing book haul, where all the books that I've acquired over the end of last year and beginning of this year up until the end of April, I'm going to go through very quickly, hopefully. So let's get in. There's about 50 books, so let's go. The first 4 I'm going to show you are all Charles Dickens novels, and they are the folio editions, so they're all really pretty in slipcases. So I have the Pickwick Papers, which they all have really nice covers that look like this. So this is the Pickwick Papers, and then we have Little Dorrit, Great Expectations, then we have David Copperfield. So I have these 4. I've never read a classic, so hopefully I'll get to these sooner rather than later, but I'm probably not going to read them in these editions because they're way too pretty to actually read from. Moving on to some more pretty editions that I got the volumes 1 to 9 of the complete volumes 1 to 9 of the complete works of William Shakespeare. So I think this is everything, and these are the Peebles Classic Library editions, so they're really pretty. I'm probably not going to read from these either because I do need to read more Shakespeare, because I was a drama student and I have not read that much Shakespeare. I was a terrible student, clearly. But yeah, got these to read. Moving on to not so classics and pretty editions, we have At the Edge of the Universe by Sean David Hutchinson. This is the most recent book I've bought, but it was on this shelf, so I'll show it to you. I don't want to go into plot because I've got so many books to get through. Just know that this is an LGBT contemporary science fiction novel. Really good. Next one. Then we have the Great British Bake Off book, because I like to bake. That's all I'm going to say on this one. Baking! Then we have Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the original screenplay by J.K. Rowling, in this beautiful hardback that I've definitely not read from, because I only saw the film once. And I did enjoy it, but I really wanted the pretty book, so I bought the pretty book. So yeah, I have it now. Then we have Slade House by David Mitchell. I got this for Christmas, and I have no idea what it's about. It says, on one side of a high wall lies a narrow dark alley, on the other a sunlit garden, between them a small black iron door. You just need to open it. Welcome to Slade House. Mystery novel maybe? I don't know. Pretty sure. Might get to it this year, might not. Who knows? Then we have The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, which is a contemporary novel that everyone raves about, and I've seen the film and I really enjoyed the film, so I'm going to read the book one day. Then we have A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, based on the original idea by Siobhan Dowd, and illustrations by Jim Kay. This is a really good book about a boy who gets visited by a monster to cope with the fact his mum is dying of cancer, basically. It's a really good book, promise. We have Cress and Winter, the final 2 books in the Lunar Chronicles, which I have not started, but I now own every single book for. It's a sci-fi retelling of fairy tales. The first one are Cinder and Scarlet, and I now have the next 2 to finish off the series. I just have to start it. And then we have Firefight and Calamity by Brandon Sanderson. These are dystopian-ish, sci-fi-ish novels about superheroes, or supervillains more specifically. I've read the first book in the trilogy, Steelheart. It's a trilogy called The Reckoners. I love Brandon Sanderson, so I had to pick them up. Look how pretty these covers are. Need to finish them. Yeah, next. Then we have The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. This is a vampire novel following a girl's characters group. Who knows? That cold towns are towns where vampires live, or they're towns where the humans live. I don't really know. It's got vampires. It's Holly Black. I'm probably gonna love it. I bought it. Well, I didn't bought it. I got it for Christmas. So yeah. Then we have The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon, which is the sequel to The Bone Season, which I read last October and thoroughly enjoyed. This is a world where people have psychic abilities, basically, but it's dystopian psychic abilities. So there's a really cool society, and yeah, Paige, the main character, has an ability that she shouldn't have, because psychics are frowned upon, and yeah, really good series. Next book. next two books I have are the first two books in what I think is going to be a 4-book series, and that is The Diviners and Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. 1920s paranormal psychic fiction. They're meant to be amazing. I've never read anything by Libba Bray, and I've heard a lot of good things about The Diviners, less good things about The Lair of Dreams, or maybe just less people have read Lair of Dreams. But the third book is actually coming out this year, so I have these two to get through first, and they're quite big books, so I don't know if that'll happen. We'll try. We'll see. Moving on. We have Buffy Tales of the Vampire Slayer Volumes 3 and 4. I love Buffy. I have got 4 volumes of tales now to read. I haven't read any of them, but I will one day. I'm sure. I will get there. I'll get there. These are pretty. I'll add them to my shelf. We'll get there. We'll see what happens. Next up, we have The Girl at Midnight and The Shadow Hour by Melissa Gray. Am I right there? Yeah, Melissa Gray. This is a fantasy novel, I believe, and it follows a war between people who are part dragon, part human, part bird, part human. That's what I want to think it's about. It's either something like that or something slightly different. But I mainly wanted to pick this up because Trina from Between Chapters really enjoys them, and I trust her recommendations like completely. So I have these two lovely novels to get through. Can we just appreciate how beautiful these spines and covers are as well? The UK editions are better than the US, I'm sorry. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This is about a place. They fall through the cracks between the city and he ends up in Neverwhere. I have no idea what it's about really, but it's Neil Gaiman. I've been trying to get myself to read a Neil Gaiman book for ages. This is the first one I've actually owned, so I'm doing much better by actually owning it. Then we have A Darker Shade of Magic by Victoria Schwab. This is an adult fantasy novel about a man who can jump between realities, or Londons, or realities, I'm not really sure. It sounds like my kind of thing. I didn't particularly enjoy Vicious, but Victoria Schwab's writing seems quite good, so I will eventually get to this one too. It just seems like something I would enjoy, so hopefully I will enjoy it. And then we have Timekeeper by Tara Sim. This is a alternative historical fantasy novel about a world where the clocks literally govern the time of the city they're in. I tried to read it, not a big fan. Next book. The next group of books are all books that are by my favourite authors that I've bought. So we have Newt's Emerald by Garth Nix. I have absolutely zero clue as to what this book's about, but it's by Garth Nix, so I bought it. And it is signed. You can see it there. And it has deckled edges. I didn't realise that, but it has deckled edges. Or something like that. Something weird's going on here. It's a book. I'm going to read it. Then I picked up hardback editions of Sir Thursday and Drown Wednesday. These are books 3 and 4 in the Keys to the Kingdom series, which I've mentioned a lot. It's one of my favourite series of all time, so I thought I'd try and pick up the hardbacks. Unfortunately, they're only available in the American editions, and they're kind of weird looking, but I like them, so I have them. And the next book I have is Demigods and Magicians by Rick Riordan. This is the collection of the short stories featuring the Canes and Percy and Annabeth. It's Son of Sobek, Staff of Seraphis, and The Crown of Ptolemy. I think I did it, but I haven't read this yet, but I'm really excited to. The last group of books I have are all kind of fantasy novels. So we have Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I only know that this is like Magic of Colours or something, but it's Brandon Sanderson, so I want to read it. I have The Way of Kings Part 1, Stormlight Archive. No, this is Part 2. I lied. This is Part 2. So I have Part 2, not Part 1. So I need to get Part 1 before I can read this. I'm excited to. Stormlight Archive. Let's go! Then we have the Alcatraz Bind Up. This is books 1 to 4. It says the complete because the 5th book wasn't out yet. But I wanted this mammoth edition because I just thought it was really cool. So this follows a boy who is versing evil librarians. Where is it? Then we have Falling Kingdoms, Rebel Spring, and Gathering Darkness, the first 3 books in the Falling Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. Fantasy, advertises like a Game of Thrones light, that's the vibe I'm getting. Multi-perspectives, no idea what the actual plot is, but I have these 3. Then we have The Young Elites, The Rose Society, and The Midnight Star by Marie Lu. I now own 6 books by Marie Lu, I've read none of them. This is fantasy. Gotta run. Then we have Seraphina by Rachel Hartman. I can't remember if I've hauled this. I've had this for quite a while. This is a dragon novel that my friend didn't enjoy, so he just said, have it. So I'm going to read it one day. Then we have Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. These are the books 2 and 3 in the Grisha trilogy, and I just finished Shadow and Bone actually, so I'm quite excited to dive into these eventually. So I have them now. In the same vein, I have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, the first book in the Six of Crows duology. It's based in the same world as the Grisha trilogy, but follows a heist story. I really want to read it. I'll get there eventually. And then the last thing I have to show you is White Sand, the graphic novel by Brandon Sanderson, featuring art by Rick Hoskin and Julius Gopez. I'm not really sure. But this is a graphic novel set in the Cosmere, and I've not read it yet, but I will. You'll notice that's a lot in this book haul. So that was my enormous book haul. Sorry if I'm speaking a bit fast, there was a lot to get through. So yeah, that's the book haul for today. I will have another video up soon. So goodbye!